And before we start, I see some Syracuse Academy of Science students here, and thank you for being here. All righty, I have item number 8, and I'm going to call that ready. Councilor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam President. I have items 9 through 14. Chief Evans, on item 9, any questions? This is a donation to the fire department for the training center.
Good morning.
Okay. Item 10, Chief Cecil, this is a donation to the Dare and Great program from Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, so this is just our standard donation they make every year.
Okay. Item 11 is a donation for Officer Brandon Hanks' continued.
That's exactly it. I believe he's still only giving out 1 pair of sneakers, but we have all these sneakers we need to accept so that when he starts to lose, he can give these sneakers out.
I think it's up to 2.
I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, is it 2 pairs now?
It's up at 2.
Gotcha.
Okay. Number 12, item 12.
Sure. Back in June, I believe, of this year, we asked the council to approve $190,000 to build, for our portion of a real-time crime center, to build it out. The construction project got delayed and delayed and delayed, but it's now back on target. Unfortunately, the cost of this project has gone up, so now we're asking for to reallocate an additional $75,000 to build this out. If you need more information on the OCAC, I can give you the general idea, but Chief McGork's here, and he can give you detail by detail of what that OCAC actually does. And he's right behind me.
And for the funding portion of it, for the other counselors, this is $75,000 coming from the cash capital account of the department being moved to this, and the county and the state also included additional monies in this project, correct?
That's correct.
Can you tell me how much more they put into it?
You have the figures for that.
Sure do. Good afternoon, everybody. So the county committed, wow, I probably don't even need that. The county committed an additional $75,000 as well, and the state committed an additional $15,000 in addition to their starting contribution. So the costs unfortunately went up, but there's, as we talked about back in, I think it was June, there's a tremendous benefit to the city and the county, and frankly beyond that throughout the state. So we're just looking to try and get this done as quickly as we can, which is why we're here looking for more money. And it seems as though we can get that process started. According to county facilities, fairly quickly. There's the process, of course, for signatures and all that kind of stuff that needs to be done. But we're hoping to get this started prior to the end of the year, and it's about a 16-week project, barring any unforeseen circumstances. So probably longer than 16 weeks.
Okay. Any questions?
So, with the county and the state kicking in some of the money, is this going to be shared resources?
It is. So currently the crime center is shared with every agency in the county. And so it'll just be a continuation of that. We're looking to expand it to a real-time crime center. So what we have now in the way of a crime analysis center, we're looking to expand to real-time, open it up to 24-hour operations where we can, staffing permitted, of course, and then weekends as well, whereas right now it's just Monday through Friday. We do on occasion staff it outside of those hours if we have people. This will allow us to do that. It'll give us new software, new technology, and it will just enhance what we're doing already. But it is a shared resource. We've got analysts from other agencies in the center right now that are sharing intelligence with the city of Syracuse and vice versa.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Item 13 and 14.
So 13 is just allocating funds. It's just $60,000 for basically no hardware here. It's just software upgrades that we have to do every year to keep our computers running and our networks running.
And item 14 is payment for.
Yep, it's our contracts with our police chaplains, correct.
And how many chaplains do we have?
We're down to 2. The third one, we used to have 3, 1 retired. We have 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are my items.
Thank you. Councilor Rudd.
Thank you, Madam President. Items 15 and 16 are related to a settlement. We'll discuss them in executive session on Monday. 17 is the end of year budget transfer. It's Mary Boston is here. Do you want to describe it?
Mary Vossa, the Budget Department. This is a final fiscal year 19 budget transfer. It is transferring money from underspent expense accounts to expense accounts that were over our budgeted amount during the year, the largest of which was healthcare. Healthcare is over our budget amount by almost $2.5 million.
Do you have an estimate of what the fund balance used to be for the year that's closed
No,
out?
we're not finished with all the funds yet.
So, Mary, are you finding that a lot of the departments have underspent dollars?
This is, DPW had some unspent money, and so did Parks and Codes.
Okay.
And the 2.5 million was,
Healthcare. We had an increase in claims for medical costs and prescription drugs of almost $2 million,
above what was budgeted.
above what it was budgeted for. The previous year in fiscal 18, we went the other way, where we had sort of a surplus from what was budgeted. So in fiscal 19, we kind of racked down the budget number a little bit. But in retrospect, we probably should have kept it higher. We also have about 20, what I would call over $100,000 cases right now. There's a number of cancer cases. There's almost a 100% increase in end-stage renal disease cases that the city is paying claims on. So there's some expensive cases.
How are we in comparison to last year's?
Fiscal year 18, we were under budget.
Yeah, but I mean, what was the number?
In terms of what we were under budget last year,
How much did we spend?
40, I don't have the number with me, how much we spent on healthcare last
Well, I
year.
guess in comparisons from that year to this year.
Not what was budgeted, but what were the totals?
I think it was like, I want to say 41, 42 million versus 46 million.
Thank you.
And one more quickie. So with that, going back into the general fund, I know you may not be able to answer it now, but would that give us an increase in our general fund balance?
These transfers are a net zero.
So I guess my question would be, how, we had 2.5 million extra left in those, in DPW, and
The biggest one was, the police and fire retirement account. We were under budget by almost $1.2 million because we budgeted for a police contract and we didn't get one, so.
okay.
When you say we budgeted for a police contract, we budgeted for a police contract that was going to have
For
less.
pensions, for the pension expense.
We're done?
Any questions on the
Mr.
budget
Tim.
transfer? Okay, thank you, Mary. Steve, Proact around for the IT items? Or anybody else who wants to, oh, there we go. 18, 19, 20.
Afternoon, councilors. I'm Dave
Afternoon.
Perrock from IT. Item number 18, we went to contract with Cogent Communications, I think it was last fall. With that internet service line we have with them, we get 5 IP addresses, and we're just going back asking for 5 more. So it's just an add-on, an addendum to that current contract. And number 19 is permission to go forward with getting Spectrum internet service and phone service into 100 Caleb Street is the back end of Sunnycrest. So in the winter they do the cross-country skiing, and in the summer they run the golf program out of there. That's providing internet service to that end of Sunnycrest Park. We have another program bringing internet service into the ice rink in the front end of the park, if you will. And the other half of that, number 19, is for Westmoreland Park, which currently doesn't have any of those services.
Are these, I remember you're talking about these installations a couple months ago. Are these the last two parks that have not had internet service as of now, or are there more that still have to be completed?
I believe they're the last two. The ones that I came to you in the spring for, it was a long description. What occurred there is to get the when Spectrum has to perform construction, they first do a desk audit and they estimate how much your construction is going to be. For example, at Meacham, they estimated $7,500 to build their communications lines into the Meacham Park. They pay the first $5,000 of it, and the city is responsible for the balance, the $2,500. After we got approval to move forward, we met with Spectrum there. They bring their construction folks out, and they actually walk it, and they reprice it. And out of the 4 sites that we're having construction performed on, the prices come in an additional $6,000. So that's going to be an addendum on the next calendar to get money applied to those. So just in reference to which ones don't have it, well, Meacham still doesn't have it. Sunnycrest still doesn't have it. A couple of the construction projects came in a little bit lighter, but I think it was Meacham that came in much more expensive. So
Maybe the commissioner has some to add.
So I just want to add that those are the last that I have contacted IT about, but overall, there are more parks that I would like to come to because it will overall increase our services and our ability to track everything. But as far as we've gone to IT and have identified money for, that's it, but there will be more coming.
Extinction.
Yeah, and maybe I'm off, but okay, with you adding to these different parks, are we going to be able to interact with the police stuff, how they were locked into the schools, you know, how they transmitted?
yeah, I've had conversations with the police about that. To replace the current level of service that the police has, we need to run some fiber, and we're working in concert with police to be able to do that. We applied for a grant with them about a month ago. This is completely separate. These are standalone accounts just at these individual parks.
I know
So-
they're standalone, but
Yep,
I
so
know that some
yeah.
of the buildings, they actually
Yeah.
connect.
It won't aid it because these lines are relatively, they're high speed, but they're not fast enough to accommodate the video that the police needs. It's a great idea, but just it'd be asking too much of these accounts. They wouldn't be able to do it.
What exactly is the difference between 19 and 20? They're both Spectrum business for the same locations, but then it's 75 for 30. What's the difference?
They decided to split. One is the installation cost, which is... One is installation cost, one is the ongoing monthly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Councilor Green.
Item 21.
Good afternoon, Councilors. Janet Burke from Research. This is a grant to DASNY, the New York State Dormitory Authority, for $800,000, and we're going to be using that for technology for the city smart infrastructure project. We're going to be, the final details are being worked out, but at this point, we're doing water main sensors, tablets, GPS units, and a fiber expansion.
So do we have to break it down yet of where each would go, or we're not sure yet?
That's what we're working on now.
And when you say tablets, I'm back on my same line of questioning again. So all of the tablets will connect with one another, they'll talk?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
I'm just looking for Sam, because Sam would know all that.
Hi, Sam Edelstein. Yeah, the idea would be that the tablets can all work within a workflow software system that we are in the process of implementing so that workers in the field can update the work that they're doing rather than doing it on paper.
Even the ones that Codes has, the older ones, they're going to talk to each other?
I mean, I don't know if the one person's tablet talks to the other person's tablet in the field, but everything would go back to a single software
That was supposed
system.
to be the concept of it. We were supposed to be able to talk to where everybody would know what's going on within these departments.
Right.
That
So,
was-
yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Okay, thank you. All righty.
Madam President.
Councilor Carney.
Thank you, Madam President.
22 through 28.
Good afternoon, Julie LaFave, Commissioner of Parks and Recreation. Items 22, 23, and 24 are all related to the next step in the process for the adopted tick and deer management plan. Would you like me to break them down individually?
No, I just have a couple questions that
Okay.
I mentioned in leadership, but I'd like to just throw them out there in the
Absolutely.
public as well. Number one, my question was, is the actual Department of Agriculture, Animal, Plant Health, whatever it is, the
USDA.
Well, the animal plant health inspection, although, are they going to contract out for the sharpshooters, or are they going to actually have folks within their department that are going to be doing that work?
So I do actually have Justin here, but I won't have him step up just yet with USDA.
Okay.
That's the short end of that long one. They do all of the contracting with the sharpshooters.
Okay, okay, and,
Oh, I guess I'm sorry. I probably guess
there's
I'm
more
over.
to it.
Sorry.
He's probably who I want to talk to then. Yeah.
Yes, it's all federal USDA employees that do that work.
Okay.
My employees.
All right, and then my question from there is along with that, are they going to be using bows, crossbows, live ammunition? Like, what's the practice that you guys primarily do?
We've offered two options. It'll be center fire rifles and trapping if we choose to use that second method.
Okay. And I know it's coming to me, and I oversee parks. Are you going to be primarily doing this work in parks, or will you be reaching out to folks in the community to get onto their property and you do this as well?
Yeah, it's through parks, county, any lands that want to sign up for the project can go through that.
So that part of the project is actually through us with DEC. We have to approve the sites through DEC.
Okay.
And then we forward that to USDA. They just follow our directive, but it will be a little of both.
So then does that process just strictly go through your department, or does it come back to the council for our approval of where you're going to do it? It's just strictly through you guys?
Yes.
Okay. I think that was it.
Can I ask a question? So how does this look from the neighborhood perspective? Like, how is this going to look? If I look outside my window, I'm going to see somebody, like,
I would say no, that shouldn't really happen. Only if we're going to be on like a private property, a local private property, and people would be able to see us, they'll know up front, and that'll be they'll have asked us to be there.
Okay.
It won't be by surprise.
And is there a certain time period that you go out? Is it early morning? Is it late night?
Work starts setting up just before dusk, and the actual work starts at dusk, whatever time that might be for that time of year. And then goes till, on average, 1, 2 in the morning.
But you're going to let people know, like, within the neighborhood on the block, that this is what you're doing, right? Because if you come out there at dusk, like, this seems like a problem.
So we can't, for safety reasons and for a lot of logistical reasons, we can't disclose where it's going to be taken on any given night. But we will be coordinated very closely with the police department, who will be aware of exactly where it is, the timing, and have all of the relevant details.
And I'm going to piggyback on top of Councilor Allen. I have to, because it's kind of like water to me. I'm not saying you have to say specifically, I'm going to be on Meadowbrook today, but there should be some type of a postcard to let these folks know that you're going to be out there.
In general, that should be done through a press release ahead of time, knowing this whole winter that could happen, because it's going to be continuous. It's not just this isn't a 1 week thing. This is going to start whenever it starts, December, and then it'll be all the way till April. It's a long process, so that's the best way to handle that.
Yeah, look, I want to just make it clear, I'm in full support of this. I think this is something we should have done years ago. Lyme disease is a real issue in our area, and this is probably the most effective way to address it. I know Councilor Driscoll and I have talked about it, gone to probably countless meetings, but even before when Councilor Maroon was around. This is really an issue in the city and it needs to be addressed. I think probably to ease concerns, we should probably work with the administration in each district to know when it is that there should be some sort of press release or something to reach out to neighborhood groups like, hey, this month or this time period, we are going to be in your area, you're be made aware of it,
If I could, Justin, you don't mind me saying a few things. One of the things that we need to bear in mind is that it needs to be 500 feet from a public roadway. So Actually finding the locations where they can set up is quite a challenge. So it's not like someone on Brookford's going to open their back window and be surprised by seeing sharpshooters in their backyard. The sharpshooters will, have been, searching for these areas, and also at going at night, they have, high level. If I'm speaking correctly, correct me if I'm saying anything wrong, Justin. That they have high level motion detectors. So should anyone be coming near the area, they'll be made aware of it long before people stroll up on it. Well, I do agree there needs to be some public outreach. We've also seen in DeWitt and in other places where they've implemented people showing up with their dogs, letting them loose in the area to try, people who are animal rights activists trying to throw the deer off, trying to, throw off the situation. So it's a fine balancing act. I do think we need to make the people closest and adjacent to it aware, but I think we also have to be careful about, just putting in the paper where they're going to be every night because of the disruption that we get from animal rights activists. Is that accurate?
So yes, I'm in agreement that there's a balancing act. So what we will commit to do is, Greg Lowe is not in here, so I'll make sure that I'll connect with him. Do I see Greg? Sorry, Greg. I was like looking for Greg and I couldn't find him. But we'll figure out the balance of how we can communicate without putting people in danger. I don't want people, because of the notice, wanting to go out to the areas too. So we'll work with Greg. Any counselors that want to be a part of that conversation, you're more than welcome.
Any additional questions? Thank you. Oh, actually, I have more, sorry.
Yep.
Item 25 is to enter an agreement for a program at no cost at our senior centers. And items 26 through 28 are to authorize payment or enter an agreement with regards to entertainment at our annual events coming up soon.
Tree lighting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're done?
Yeah, those are my items.
Thank you. Councilor Lovejoy Grinnell.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item 29. Council President and I met with Mary Vossler. So maybe, Mary, you could give a brief overview.
Sure. This is requesting a 3-year contract with United Healthcare out of Atlanta, Georgia. The city, the school district, and the county of Onondaga went out for a joint shared services RFP this summer for a Medicare Advantage plan with prescription drugs. These are health insurance and prescription drug coverage for our retirees over age 65. They are currently under a program with Aetna, but it did not include the prescription drugs. So we decided to see what the proposals would be, and they were very aggressive from 4 companies. And in the end, it was decided that the RFP committee voted for United Healthcare. It's also normally a 2-year contract with Medicare Advantage plans, but we asked United for a 3rd year. They gave it to us with a guaranteed rate, so this is a pretty good deal for the city right now. I feel it is. We're setting up meetings with the retirees probably in the next 2 weeks. We've reached out to the heads of those retiree unions. The personnel department has. I just don't have a date for the meeting yet.
So can you give us the cost difference from what we're paying now per person per month?
The city is, it's the city and the school district, and the school district pays a little less per month under the United Healthcare contract because the city has a little richer prescription drug plan. So currently the city per person per month is paying about $375, and next year, starting in 2020, it's been reduced. Not reduced, we will be paying $135.77. It's quite a difference. No, the services are exactly the same. In fact, there is a small enhancement. There's a hearing aid allowance of, I think, $500 for retirees, which is not under the Aetna plan right now. So it's a positive thing.
Do you have any back of the envelope estimates of how much we'd be saving? I know per person, but aggregate between the city or the school district?
For the city, in the first year, it's approximately $5 million.
Wow.
I'm all set unless anyone else have questions. Okay, all set.
Thank you.
Councilor Allen.
Thank you. I have items 30 through 48.
Good afternoon, councilors. My name is Yolanda Johnson, Construction Development Coordinator, and I have item number 30. Property owners asking permission to encroach fence on Shamong at 314 Shamong. It'll encroach 16 feet into the right-of-way.
Is this already existing?
The fence, no, not to my knowledge. I'm sorry. No, everybody, all the comments are in favor of the encroachment.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, they put for their reason was to stop kids and animals from running in the yard. So they'll be excited.
Kids and animals.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Great.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Item 31. This one is for the home leasing purchase for St. Anthony's, correct?
Good afternoon, councilors. Yes. This is the company Home Leasing had to form a different corporation in order to own the property. And the original contract from the city, the authorization from the ordinance was for Home Leasing LLC. They need to use the new name that for the corporation they formed. So they would accept the property instead of Home Leasing directly.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, and now items 32 through 48.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Councilor Stephanie Pasquale, Commissioner of Neighborhood and Business Development.
Good afternoon.
I think the land bank list is coming around, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I think the first two were from last week, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Councilor Carney.
I would just ask that you hold all the first district ones for me.
Okay.
I'll go through them.
If you can hold 33, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. Any questions on 34? So it's ready? Okay. And
35 is ready.
okay, 36 is ready and 37 is ready. All right, 38.
38 is ready. 39, please hold.
Okay, so 38 ready and holding 39. 40 we're gonna hold.
Sure.
All right, 41 I'm gonna hold. 42 hold. 43. Yep. So 43 is ready. 44 is ready. Okay, and 45 we're going to hold, and 46 hold. 47.
Ready?
Okay, and 48 will hold.
And can I just, Counselor, do you mind if I ask the Commissioner about number 39? So 39, I had some discussions with Michelle about after Counselor Thompson brought this to my attention. So this property was on for a different phase. Can you just catch me up a little bit? I know that it's been...
Sure, I'm checking for Michelle's notes. I was on that email chain as well. So in terms of what we looked at today, and you probably had a chance to see, Finance confirmed that there weren't any payments since the production of this.
Okay. And so this is at least the second time, the second phase that this house has been on an agenda here?
Correct.
Okay.
When was the last time that any money was paid?
I'll have to look up the screen to see the last time, but I do know it was on phase 11, so it was around that time. Something would have had to been paid to get it off.
Can you send me a complete breakdown of what this has been for this property?
Sure, for number 39, right?
Yes.
And Commissioner, I have to ask you a question that's not on the agenda. She's writing. I'll wait for her to get through writing. Question for you, just curious. I think we've all read about this one particular guy with all of these houses in the city. I got an email that he just purchased a bunch of them on the south side. Who's selling these houses to him?
I can look up, you're referring to end zone properties. I can look up what transactions have taken place in the last 60 days to see when it gets, they don't always get posted as quickly as the transaction occurs. And I can, for each case, we can tell you who the seller was.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
No problem.
I need a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.